Hello everyone, my name is Shang, and I drink. Not so often, but still, oh yes, I don't drink alcohol. No, I'm not an alcoholic. I drink something much tastier and better than alcohol. It's paint. The most common, which is painted at home, for example. What am I doing this for? You'll find out now. In the meantime, watch, listen, do not forget to write comments under the video, put likes, and subscribe to the channel. Once, my friends and I were sitting on a summer evening from inactivity and did not know what to do. We always came up with delusional ideas like a race to drink a liter of water, smell dry ground pepper, plunge your head into the toilet, and so on. Sometimes we argued for money, and sometimes just for fun. I do not know about the other guys, but we had such an interesting friendship and everything suited us. Maybe that's why we communicated with each other for so long. So, that night, we didn't know what to think of or what to do. Then Eddie suggested that we take a look at what is currently trending. As soon as we opened the internet, we saw that there was an unusual challenge among school children on the internet. Its essence was to dilute the paint in front of the camera in a small amount of water and drink it. Strange, but it just brought a lot of popularity because not everyone dared to do it. Personally, we only saw a few videos at that time, and the idea came out on its own. We agreed to bring everything we needed, meet the next day, and make a video. In the morning, my father woke me up and asked me to work with him in the construction market to help with the sale. I was upset at first, because I had other plans for the day, and then I came up with, what if I shoot a video there and improve it a little? I immediately wrote to the guys in the group to come to my father for work and they agreed. After about half a day of sales, there was not so much. There was a little free time, and I asked my father to go to lunch with friends. He agreed. We found a place in the market where no one passed. There were abandoned containers. The boys took out a cup, water, and paint. They mixed everything in front of the camera, made a little grimace, and then we cast lots for who would drink the prepared solution. So who do you think lost? Of course, me. I took a glass of water, held it in my hand, and looked at this terrible yellow-blue water, exhaled, closed my nose and eyes, and drank it all in one gulp. The guys clapped for me. They managed to film everything, and this is the main thing. Don't even ask what it tasted like. It was terrible, nasty, bitter, and, well, ugh. A little more, and I would have been sick. I could barely contain myself. Eddie edited the video, put on some cool music, and the challenge is ready. Here we are. Just the next morning, as soon as I opened my eyes, Eddie called me. He was yelling so loudly into the phone. Dude, did you see that? Did you see it? I didn't even immediately realize what was going on, and then he threw me a link that had 1 million views. Can you imagine? This energized us and gave us the idea that we should continue in the same spirit, because if we are promoted properly, we can have real money. In general, every 2 days we mixed the colors and cast lots. I don't know how it came out, but it always fell on me. Everyone was already starting to say that I wanted to become a star, but in fact, I was not so good from drinking paint. I didn't tell anyone how I felt, but since we started shooting, I've sometimes woken up with a stomach ache. I was in so much pain that I couldn't even breathe properly. At these moments, I thought that everything was done. I would tie up with the rollers for now, but in the morning everything passed, and I went again in the hope that someone else would draw the lot. A month later, we noticed that our videos were losing relevance. Then, when I came to work with my father, I had another more delusional and dangerous idea. But I knew that we would have unrealistic views, so it was worth the risk. This time I participated alone, because I understood the reaction of the guys. I took the camera, stood in front of it, danced some stupid dance, showed a can of blue construction paint, opened it, and then said I would drink it. At first, the terrible smell hit me in the face, but then I even liked it. I took a small sip, smiled, and turned off the camera. He didn't seem to have died or poisoned himself. As I said, the video caused a lot of discussion. One half was shocked. The other half did not believe it. They said that everything was fake. So I decided to record another video. There were also a lot of views. But then I was again accused of lying, and then I decided to go live. My friends tried to stop me, saying it was too harmful for me to stop. But that was a matter of principle. I'm being accused of lying, and if I give up, it means they're right. I promised that this would be the last time I would drink this much paint. I went on the air and drank the colors I was asked for. When they found out that I was lying, people were shocked. They believed me, and that's all I need. I said goodnight to my followers, and then turned off the camera. I sat and thought about what I would do next, what kind of video to shoot, about what, how to attract subscribers, and only then noticed that I was sitting and drinking paint like coffee. But what is surprising, I did not feel its nasty taste, smell, as in the first time. On the contrary, it was normal for me. Then I knew I'd found my drink. I didn't tell anyone about it. I knew they wouldn't understand. I quietly came to the market in the evenings every day and drank a little paint. I felt so good at these moments. I felt light and free. And I also heard loud comments from subscribers in my ears, and I was happy. But one day, my happiness ended. I don't remember how much paint I drank in 3 months, but that night I went to the market again. As usual, I opened the jar. The white one was the most delicious. I took a couple of sips, and woke up in another place. As you can imagine, I was in the hospital. My father, my friends, and the doctors were standing nearby. I've had so many gastric lavages. It turns out that the paint almost burned through my body, dehydrated it almost completely. And also, what is the worst thing, I almost became a drug addict. Alas, yes, but this was to be expected. And how did it not occur to me earlier? Although I may have been thinking, I didn't betray the significance. In general, now I am on treatment. I still have a long way to heal, but I am trying very hard. I already have results. I realized one thing, that not all trends need to be followed. It is better to think with your head first.
I think many of us have some strange characteristics that we can't explain to ourselves or to others. Someone eats boogers, someone sits for hours in the toilet, someone likes to sniff gasoline, tear paper, and much more. For example, I like to eat soap. Yes, simple, ordinary, real soap for your hands, face, no matter. I have my own favorite tastes, colors, and firmness, and it started from childhood. By the way, my name is Mia. I have a little sister and a mother. My father was gone, and my mother raised us alone. She was often at work, I was at school, and my sister was in kindergarten. When I came home from school, I usually had lunch, then sat down for lessons. In the evening, my mother and sister came. The 3 of us had dinner, bathed, and went to bed. Since I grew up, I bathe alone. I always used soap and a washcloth. I was very attracted to the smell of scented soap. I remember my mother always bought it in bundles and said it was cheaper. We had soap at home with a smell of honey and milk, strawberries, herbs. They were all different shapes, colors, and frothed in different ways. And so, on one of these bathes, as I lay in the bathroom and washed my hands, I suddenly began to wonder what soap is made of. How do they make it, and why does it have such a beautiful foam? After a few minutes of reflection, the thought crept into my head. What does it taste like? I've often heard my sister say that she cries every time the soap gets in her eyes. Yes, it is really unpleasant. It stings the eye so that you think it is about to fall out, and when it gets into the mouth, it becomes disgustingly bitter and disgusting. But I do remember that I got foam in my mouth and I properly soaped my hands and licked. The taste was really a little bit bitter and sour, but interesting, not like anything else. I licked the foam again, and the more I tasted it, the more I liked it. Then I decided to take a bite. This small piece stuck slightly to my teeth. I even had to pull it off with my tongue. It reminded me of toffee candies, but I realized that I liked it. So I ate a little of it and left the bathroom. I knew I shouldn't tell anyone, especially my mother. She'll yell, I thought. The next day, I repeated my dessert. With each bite, I liked it more and more. I couldn't eat much, but one bite was just the thing. It was like an addiction, a soap addiction. Since then, I've tried a lot of different types. Most of all, I like the smell and taste of honey, coconut milk, and chocolate. I also like these products very much. Once I decided to experiment and tried shampoo and shower gel, but it was not delicious. Then I heard my mother talking to herself in the bathroom. What's wrong with the soap? Why does it end so quickly, and why are there teeth marks on it? Mia, don't you want to tell me anything? My mother asked sternly. I was confused, but there was nowhere to go, so I confessed everything. Just like that, Mom was yelling. She told me to stop this strange habit. What? There's nothing to eat at home but soap? Who eats it at all? She shouted. I didn't understand why it made her so mad. I didn't eat much, just one bite. But then I came up with a plan. I just bought a separate one for myself and hid it in my room. After a shower, I went to bed, and before going to bed, I took a bite and went to bed, savoring a piece. I will say it right away, I did not have a stomachache from it, and I did not go to the toilet with bubbles. Everything was as usual, just like everyone else. Then I grew up and went to university. Since it was located in another city, I had to rent an apartment with my friends, classmates. The three of us lived in a one-room apartment. The area is small, but it helped save money. The girls did not know about my habit, and I also carefully hid this fact from them so that there would be no unnecessary questions and ridicule. Like at home, I went to the shower, took my soap with me, bathed with another, and then bit my own and went back to the room. But one day, we were doing general cleaning and a friend was cleaning the closet. When she reached my shelf, my honey fell out. She picked it up from the floor. At this moment, I screamed, and before I could run up, she asked me why there were teeth marks on the soap. At that moment, I blushed terribly and didn't know what to lie about. Another picked up the subject and began to laugh wildly. "What are you doing, eating soap?" I was so confused that I could not lie. They began to laugh out loud, clutching their bellies. Well, then came a lot of questions. After I told them everything, they didn't believe me for a long time. To be honest, I was joking, but do you really eat it? The girlfriend asked. It was too late to deny it, so I took my soap and took a bite in front of them. "What do you feel?" they asked. I replied that at such moments, I feel the same as when eating. Everyone has their favorite dishes. When you eat them, you feel pleasure, happiness, bliss. In a word, high. So am I. I'm just getting high. "What if I spread it on bread?" one asked. And then she made me a nice little sandwich. She cut the soap into thin layers and put it on a piece of rye bread like butter. I took a bite and ate it. I liked it, but without the bread the taste is brighter and more pleasant. While I was chewing, they both stared with their mouths open and were gawking at me. I was very funny and I suggested that they try it. They took a millimeter at a time and ran to the bathroom. They spat so that the whole entrance seemed to hear them. "Ugh, it's bitter! It's disgusting! How do you eat it?" they both shouted. But no one can understand my preferences, so I kept it a secret. Since that day, on my birthday, every year the girls have given me whole packages of my treats. I didn't even know there were such tastes. Then I began to eat handmade soap. It was a little greasier than usual, but even more delicious. You will probably think that this is nonsense and that this does not happen. But believe me, there are still so many inexplicable habits in the world. Perhaps not everyone is talking about it, but I decided to tell you about this so that you don't think they're alone. But it turns out that my habit has a name, allotriophagy. This is when a person eats inedible things. I found out about it when I got to the hospital. It happened a couple of years later, when I had long been eating not one piece per night, but much more. I didn't have to hide it from the girls now, so I ate whenever I wanted and as much as I wanted. So one day, I felt a sharp attack of pain in my stomach. I thought it made my legs go numb. I was brushing my teeth before going to bed and suddenly doubled over. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't call for help. I was just gulping air like a fish on land. And then I deliberately pushed the shampoo shelf to the floor. The girls came running. They barely broke down the door and saw me almost blue on the floor. The ambulance came for me. At the hospital, when I came to my senses the next day, I was told the name of my addiction and I was warned about its consequences. It almost cost me my life. Since that day, I've been trying to hold back. It was insanely difficult at first, and then the girls came up with something. Now we only have liquid soap in the house.